How to calculate moles and masses of compounds by KayScience.com. Relative atomic mass, or AR for short, can be defined as the relative atomic mass of an element is the average relative mass of all the isotopes in an element. Whereas the relative formula mass, also known as MR, can be defined as the total of the relative atomic masses of all the atoms in a formula. It's question time. Attempt these questions to check your understanding. One mole is a number and it equals 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23. This huge number is called Avogadro's constant. One mole is a very, very large number, and when it's not written in its standard form, like above, the whole number looks like this. This is a very large number, so it's better to use the standard form and just say 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23. It's question time. Attempt these questions to check your understanding. The equation to calculate the number of moles of a compound is number of moles, where the unit is mole, equals mass in grams divided by relative formula mass, written as MR for short. Here's an exam question where you have to use the equation we've just learnt. And the question is to calculate the number of moles of water molecules, H2O, in 15 grams of water. So the question is asking us to calculate the number of moles of water in 15 grams of water, where the relative atomic masses of hydrogen is 1 and oxygen is 16. In the exam, you will always be given the relative atomic masses, or you can just find that data in the periodic table. The next step is to write down the equation, which is moles equals mass divided by MR. And I always want you to write down the equation whenever attempting any calculations question in the exam. The information in the question tells us the mass is 15 grams. And we use the relative atomic masses to calculate the MR of water, which is 18. I know this because when we look at the H2O molecule, we can see the 2 after the H means there are 2 hydrogen atoms, and the O by itself means there's 1 oxygen atom. So the AR of 1 times 2 equals 2, and the AR of 16 times 1 equals 16. So 2 plus 16 equals an MR of 18. We then input this data into the equation, where moles equals 15 grams divided by 18 equals 0.83 mole. Pause the video now to attempt this exam style question. The answers will follow. Pause the video now to go through your answers and make any corrections to your mistakes. The equation to calculate the mass of a compound is mass in grams equals MR times number of moles, which has a unit of mole. We're now going to practice using this equation, where in this exam style question, you have to calculate the mass of 6 moles of lithium oxide, Li2O. So this question is asking us to calculate the mass of 6 moles of lithium oxide, where the relative atomic mass of lithium is 7 and oxygen is 16. To calculate this, the equation is mass equals moles times MR. The information from the question tells us the moles equals 6 mole, and I've calculated the MR is 30. I've calculated this by writing down the chemical formula of Li2O, which we can see in the question, and the 2 after the Li tells us there are 2 lithium atoms, and the O by itself tells us there is 1 oxygen atom. So the AR of 7 times 2 equals 14, and the AR of 16 times 1 equals 16. So the MR can be calculated by adding 14 and 16, which equals an MR of 30. We input this into the equation where mass equals 6 mole times 30, which equals a mass of 180 grams. Pause the video now to attempt this exam-style question. The answers will follow. Pause the video now to go through your answers and make any corrections to your mistakes. Pause the video here to practice the keywords. The answers will follow. Press pause to answer the questions. The answers will follow. If stuck, just rewatch the video. Press pause to go through your answers and make any corrections to your mistakes. And don't forget to visit KayScience.com for more videos, worksheets and quizzes at KayScience.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe.